like the new cards really are. It's a deck brewer's paradise.
Yeah, the support for everything, right? It's like. Welcome back to the reaction phase with the lesser of two voices. You guys know me. My name is Josh.
And my name is Louie from Kitchen Table TCG.
And I am from right here at HometownTCG. This is the reaction phase, our weekly flesh and blood podcast. This podcast can be found right here on YouTube. It can be found on Spotify. It can be found on Apple Podcasts. I don't know why I went that whole time talking to you without looking at you, but I did it anyway.
I'm stoked, dude. I'm excited to chat, and I love our friendship. I love hanging out. We should just podcast our life.
I think you're buttering me up way too early, so something bad is coming.
Yeah,
that was way too nice, way too early.
I'm gonna insult you. I wanted to talk about your video, that your spoiler season video.
My spoiler season video. That's fine. We can talk about that one.
No, I wanted to butter you up so I can talk to you about your mishap.
Come on, man. That was a tough day. That was okay. Let's get this out of the way right off. Let's get this out of the way right now. Right now. It's the middle of the day. Let's just talk about that. It's the middle of the day. I'm working my regular job, and I see this fake spoiler, and I see what everyone's talking about, and I go nuts. And I was like, oh my god, I did not see this coming, but this is the best use of this carnival slot. Like, I was like, LSS just like hit a home run out of the park. I love this. My hype, like I started tingling. I got all warm and sweaty at my desk, and I got in front of the camera. I'm like, I'm so hyped about this. I have to make a video, and I made a video. And as soon as I made the video, I'm like, I should have like double checked that. And not only that, I thought it was a pretty good video too. I should have double checked it. And then Dennis, faithful, true Dennis, the guy who makes Hometown TCG run behind the scenes, messaged me and said, I got bad news for you, bud. I was like, I think I know. Oh, I think I know. And I made the call to leave it up, change the thumbnail, change the title, because you know what? When you get got, they deserve it. They earned it.
So, for those of you who don't know, the card.
No, don't say what it is. Don't say it. Check it out.
It's funny that you said that, because that same day I woke up and the first thing I did in the morning, this is horrible, but literally the first thing I did in the morning is check my phone and check my YouTube and check all that stuff. That's like literally the first thing I do. And I saw on Facebook somebody had made a fake ninja hero,
a fake adult Ira,
and it was really well done. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I literally jumped out of bed to go down and make a video. And then I read the comments, and people were like talking about like how they were angry at it for being fake. And
so you like checked your sources and did like the right adult thing?
Yeah. Well, like, you know, my channel's pretty loose, but at least I make sure it's accurate before I post.
My channel is not very loose. I normally am very, very in tune with the information, and I got.
Oh man, that's great. We have like in our Discord, we have like an official spoilers thing. I usually try to stick to that because people are usually quicker than I am. So
we have a spoiler thing in our Discord, and it's the Wild Wild West. And part of that, I've seen yours. You know, as a Kitchen Table TCG patron, I've seen your spoiler thing. I love it. It's great for like, these are the spoilers as they come out, as your mods and however they're being posted is being posted. And that's cool. I took mine in the opposite direction. It's the Wild Wild West in there. I opened it up to all my patrons, said, we can have spoiler discussion. You can post cards. You can post the fakes. Like, let these guys and let them own it. Like, let them be super involved. So it's not the premier location for information, but it's a great hub. And I got crushed.
Dude, it's good.
I messaged you. You, and I was like, is my channel gonna die? Is this it? Is this where Hometown TCG ends?
All right, so today we're going to talk about Everfest so far, which is pretty much, we're just talking about Everfest. We're going to talk about the Channel Fireball debacle.
Sponsored by Powerade. Sorry, go ahead. Yes, the Channel Fireball debacle.
Sponsored by Channel Fireball.
Which was a debacle. Oh, I don't have do I not have the Channel Fireball sleeves right now? Oh.
We're going to talk about Everfest pre-orders, and then we're going to talk about Farewell to Wraith, the events this weekend, because they were pretty cool. So spoiler alert, I wrote the rundown, but that's my most excited topic at the end, so it's not like a coincidence, but I have so much to say about the Farewell to Wraith event that if you're following Hometown TCG on Twitter, you know You
just
loved it.
popped off.
You loved it.
No,
right,
no spoilers, dude. Spoilers. Come on.
let's talk about Everfest. And before we get here, we're not going to like show card images. We're going to talk about kind of Everfest as a whole. There's enough other content going on with that, and we also want to be a little bit. We don't want to ruin anything that somebody doesn't want to get ruined too.
Yeah, if you're not searching for like specific spoilers, if you've done so well to avoid them this far, go ahead. And I also think a lot of what I'm going to do in the future is teching specific decks around certain cards. So I don't think this is the medium. I think this is, let's just talk about like the spoilers that are coming out, the set, what we think.
Yeah.
Okay, so boxes have been opened. All the content creators have finally got a chance to spoil their cards, or Channel Fireball got a chance to spoil their cards. Which, shout out to them. You sometimes, if you're not first, you're last, right? So, what do you think of Everfest? Like, it's pretty much out there now, right? So, okay, Everfest in a minute or less. Louis, go.
I'm super excited. Like, I'm super excited I think it's really going to mix up the meta. From a gameplay perspective, there seems to be a ton of deck building opportunity now with these Everfest cards, and that's what I like so much about Crew. It really opens up the door to like trying things out and being different, and it really opens the door to creativity. The current the new cards really are. It's a deck brewer's paradise.
Yeah, the support for everything, right? It's like there's something new to do for everyone.
Yeah, and there's new fun cards for most of the classes. I think like Brute kind of got not super supported, but I don't know, there's a lot there's a lot of new really cool ninja lines. There's a lot of really cool, obviously Guardian is like 10x to everybody else, but like there's a lot of really cool stuff to build with and have fun with. So I'm excited about that.
I think the quote that you gave me was like, this just feels like if I'm playing Guardian, I'm the happiest guy in the world.
Yeah.
Or it was something like that. Like if it's Guardian, I'm the happiest man in the entire world. And I was like, I think that's true to an extent, right? But I've been spending weeks now talking about this whole notion of you can go to your LGS, you can go to your friends at the table, these non-highly competitive events, and you can play decks that aren't the top tier nationals lists, right? Like you can do that. And I think this set leans into that. There's so many things to do now that aren't necessarily, oh, this is the nationals deck, but you can just do all these things. You can bring them to your armory and you can win games and have a ton of fun. I think this set does a great job of that. Yeah.
I think the opening experience is interesting. It seems like there's going to be a lot of spiky boxes. It seems like there's going to be. Well, yeah. You asked me how I feel. I feel like the set as a deck builder set is really good. I think this is a set that I would suggest buying singles from. Straight up, like the boxes are going to be so spiky. I don't know if they've announced the pull rate for legendaries, but if it's what it is in Crew, I mean, for the most part, I'm not sure that you're going to want to build. I mean, it's the shield or bust, right? For the leg, what are you gonna do with the merchant arms? You know what I mean? Like those are cool cards. Don't get me wrong. They're cool cards. They're fun cards. And if you're building a merchant, that's a great card to have. But I'm talking like we are still very much in a player's market. And so I just think this is a set where personally, I would suggest you buy some singles rather than opening the same amount. And this is what I've heard from a ton of people of I'm only buying a case to keep sealed and then I'm going to buy singles. And I think that's a healthy thing for a set like this, especially.
It's so wide. There's 49 Majestics?
Yeah,
like that?
Exactly.
It's very wide. It's hard to open boxes here and get the things that you need, right? Or that you want.
It'll be really interesting to see if these potions are used or not. I think that's still kind of out there for me. Like I don't know how much those items are going to be utilized in the gameplay. If they are utilized in the gameplay, there could be some pretty good value tied to opening the cold foil version of this or that.
Sure.
But if they aren't used for gameplay, if they're more like the amulets, right? That aren't really I don't know if does anything run the amulets. I don't really know.
Again, I think a lot of decks are going to experiment with them. A lot of decks are going to try them out. I know for sure I'm going to try out some interesting ones. I know we're not going to go over specifics here, but there's a couple that have caught my eye, and I'm like, these are worth giving a shot to. But okay, the antithesis of that is like, it's kind of cool because they added a way, and I talked about this in the worst and most debunked video that we already brought up. Like, they created this way to like have these collectible chase things for collectors that don't necessarily affect the game. Now, I think equipment that is like usable was a better way to do that, but this satisfies that. But I think it satisfies it poorly because part of what makes things chase cards, I mean, you're talking about the merchant arms specifically, part of what makes things chase cards is not only do like collectors want them, there's a special treatment or whatever it is, but they're played, right? They're iconic cards from playing the game. And the merchant arms kind of miss on that. Even if people are like, they're, I don't want to say a meme, but they're hyper collectible and people just love them, they miss on that mark. So it's still cool. It's a cool way for collectors to go after something without affecting us players or making us buy this expensive card. And I also think like, the heart did that. Like, the heart was a way you could collect this card, and it wasn't necessary in games. It didn't give you enough of an advantage. It had its own downsides to be like, if you don't have this, you can't play. But it was still a chase card and collectible and iconic. It was cool. This merchant arms seemed to like, it veered slightly left, right? It's like, went for that, got close, a little bit off.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of unknowns still. One of those unknowns is, are those cards going to be utilized? Because the current market of Flesh and Blood is not a collector's place. The amount of people who, don't get me wrong, I know there are people who are doing it. They'll be mad at me for saying it, but the new people who are coming into the game are coming into the game to play the game. That's 100%. Where we are, which is a great place to be.
Sure.
And so it'll be really interesting because if those cards are not utilized in the gameplay, right, then the collectors will collect them, but then they'll just sit on the secondary market. A lot like the cold foil commons from Tales of Aria. They've just been sitting there dead on the market for since release.
Sure.
Which makes them feel not collectible because
people don't want them. So it's like,
So, but my point here is, if they are used and if they are played, then that adds some momentum to that. And then they're also collectible. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. The cold foil on the
good. Like if
cold foil on the
talking about aesthetics,
the cold foil on that potion is a really cool dynamic and a really cool thing. Like completing a set of them, putting into the background of your office or whatever is going to be really cool. Yeah, you gotta up your game, man.
All my stuff is for when I'm shooting videos. I have to now do the podcast background. Thanks, Louis. Jeez.
We just gotta send you a banner.
I don't want a kitchen table TCG banner behind me.
Not my banner, a Flesh and Blood banner.
I got a bunch of stuff. We'll go over this later. But you're 100% right. But what you're pointing out is like, you're leaning into, for something to be collectible, it's still got to hit that like playability, right? It's still got to kind of tick that box a little bit. And maybe we'll be proven wrong, but these don't feel super playable. Again, they feel cool though. It satisfies that every week I want to build a new deck that does something into, whether it's draw a bunch of cards or whether it constantly makes my opponent discard cards or whatever it might be. I feel like I can do that for a long time and not repeat myself. I can do that for a long time with these new potions and trinkets and all that. But that kind of takes me into this. I messaged you. I'm leaking DMs now. I'm leaking our DMs.
Nothing is private.
Nothing is private between you and me, because I'm gonna bring it up. I messaged you. I was on my way to a Welcome to Wraith event, driving very responsibly with the Rudy video. When his box opening came up, I had like just gotten in my car. It was like a half hour away, and I turned on Rudy's box opening video. And I wasn't watching it. I was kind of just listening to him.
Same thing.
Don't drive and watch YouTube, guys, unless it's the reaction phase that you can find right here.
You can just listen to it. I get it. I did the same thing.
Yes. Yeah. And I messaged you right away, and I said, is this the greatest set with the worst box opening experience? Because one of the rare slots being taken up by these potions that are potentially, like you've talked about, not the most powerful, like, and 49 or whatever it is, Majestics that you constantly have to get all these play sets of. It seems like this awesome set with all these possibilities but it's so wide, and the big reveal of the slot is just this item, and it's like,
Yeah. So this is where I land on that stuff. Is like I bought Tales of Aria cold foil commons for the price that it took me to buy one case of Tales of Aria from my pre-order was $400 from Channel Fireball. More than that. Anyway, for the price of one case, I bought 36 cold foil commons for the price of one case. So my point being, like,
got a little ripped off there, but yeah, go ahead.
They're like $10 each, 10, 15 bucks each.
You just don't. So, the art of the deal, man.
My point is that collectors aren't stupid. They're not gonna, like, there was a day, Monarch will use, everybody was like, I want to open up a bunch of boxes because I want to complete the whole set, and things are going to be, so, but now people are going to go to the secondary market, which is fine. Like, that's good.
That's totally healthy. That's a great response.
The question holds, are we getting unlimited in three weeks? Like, that is the unknown right now, I think, in the Flesh and Blood market. I don't want to get into a whole conversation about unlimited or first edition. Why are
is unlimited here bad? Because the set is so wide, right? Maybe unlimited gives people the option to, like, now I can open 14 boxes and try to get all the Majestics that way because it's going to be inexpensive or whatever it might be.
Not if there's no difference in the box prices.
I mean, no difference in
like, yeah, I mean, like, the box,
there's going to be a difference in there's a difference in the box prices, whether it's $10
right now. Boxes are $80 right now. Everfest boxes are, I mean, we're not talking about pre-orders yet, but right now boxes are $80-$85.
Yeah, 85 to 89.
When Tales of Aria came out, boxes were $125 at this point, and now they are essentially $80, $85, $90. But
yeah, that feels like the floor. 80 to 85 feels like the floor. It feels like 80, this is starting at the floor. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, 80 is certainly the floor because that is map pricing. My point being is, if they didn't change the print run and then Unlimited does come out, I think we have an issue. Like, I think there's like a reason. The issue being, like, why would I open boxes and not just open singles? Which luckily that balances itself out.
It is a natural balancing ecosystem, right?
I think the legendary thing on a supplemental set makes it interesting. Now, I love cold foil Majestics, and I have said on Crucible, like, the legendary in Crucible of War is a cold foil Majestic.
It is. Cold foil Majestics, I think, are awesome.
Yeah.
They're awesome. There are cold foil Majestics in this, right? Those Majestic equipment that we saw can come in cold foil, right? Okay.
I believe so. I mean, we don't know the full.
I believe so as well.
List. We just know that there's 40 or so different cold foils. I think that's, I think that's great. Like, then there's the heroes, which are cold foil in the armory kits or whatever. But I think that that's great, and that will be a good thing. Especially if they are used in gameplay.
Let me lean on your cold foil take here. Let me ask you a couple cold foil questions, right? So we got these cold foils in this box. If you are going to open a box of Everfest, is it one cold foil per box? And that cold foil could be a potion of luck, right? It could. That feels to me, and maybe it's because I'm a shill for equipment. Anytime I open, even like second edition unlimited foil equipment, I'm like, ooh. It's always out there. I can always see it. It's foil. I love having these in foil. Any kind of does the potion of luck being cold foil and not in equipment, does that make it feel like Or when you open a box of Everfest, are the averages one cold foil piece of equipment per box, and then cold foil potions are like your bonus? You're like, ooh, look at the little extra you get here. What's the rate?
I'm not sure we've seen enough boxes open yet.
Oh, we haven't. I just didn't know if
Rudy's box had a cold foil potion plus cold foil.
I didn't finish the video. Yeah, no, I didn't.
But he got a legendary, so I don't know where that fits in. I hope that it's both. I mean, that'd be my wish.
If it's not, is that a miss? And we always try to stay positive here. I think if your cold foil in the box can be a potion, I think that's a miss. And that's just my take, right? Because I don't like non-cold foil or non-equipment cold foils. I want my equipment cold foil.
I always say that too. I always say that too. And then the other day, it was like 3 days ago, I was walking around at the mall and I was thinking about that. I was just walking around the mall.
Hold on. You still have malls? It's like 2022,
Look, dude. my 2-year-old needed to get out of the house, so we went and walked around the mall. I didn't go shopping. We just
It's like
walked around
2022. You don't have to go to the mall. Do you also go to walk around the airport for fun? Like
anyway,
what?
I was just like, man, why do I hate cold foils in the deck when like all the fables are cold foils that go in the deck? Like they're all cards that go like I don't know. Like I agree. Like I think I like the equipment better.
I want shiny equipment, Ellis. I don't want shiny potions. I want shiny equipment.
I don't know that it's any more of a feel bad than hitting a cold foil common from Tails.
And this is where I know that I'm just biased and wrong, and I accept that, because when I hit cold foil commons, it's still equipment. Like I wanted the Mark of Lightning, and I hit them from Tails. I hit Mark of Lightning cold foil, and I was like, it's a common, but I wanted this one, right? Runaways, because they're kind of a meme and they're not great. I was like, I wanted this one. Like there's no cold foil potion that I'm like, I really hope I open that. All of them are like, man, I'm so like grumpy old man.
I think what you're saying is honestly a Flesh and Blood wide statement, though. Like Flesh and Blood is one of the few TCGs that has such a huge spike in your EV box price, right? Like three
of the boxes are worth 40 and the fourth box is worth 220.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, Magic, right? You can maybe get lucky and, I don't remember.
Add 20 bucks.
I don't know the new pull rates for Magic. The old pull rates were like one what is it? What's the Magic word? Mythic. One mythic foil per case, right?
Dude, I did that so much when I started this game.
One mythic one mythic rainbow foil per case. And every other box had like a rare rainbow foil. And so your rares had value. Flesh and Blood rares have 0 value essentially. Your rares had value, and then your Majestics had value. So your EV was built up of a lot of like $3 to $20 cards. Whereas Flesh and Blood, it's like $8 card, $8 card, $30 card, 150. There's a lot. So it's just a different experience. This is why I always recommend people open up cases. Now on supplemental sets, it's a little bit even different. I think it's actually better, honestly, because of the Majestic equipment.
Okay, sure. I agree with you. And then what they're doing with like the full art, like where the cold foils have this like extended treatment, that is just sick. It looks super good. It's so cool. It's such a unique way. And I've talked about this. I've been planning this video and I just haven't done it yet. And God, I hope my wife doesn't watch this episode. I opened like $5,000 of Magic product and $5,000 of Flesh and Blood product since I started playing Flesh and Blood. Yeah. And that's not like, none of that is YouTube money. Let's just put it that way. Like none of it is YouTube. And I've sold stuff and it's not just like $10,000 out the door, but it's pretty split down the middle. I did the math, and there's a different feeling to opening Flesh and Blood product because there's that chase, right? There's that cold foil chase, and there's that box that hits 240 EV because of that legendary cold foil that drops in your lap that just makes this chase better. You open Magic product, it's something I can sit with a nice roast beef, a glass of wine, some broccoli, and it's a very refined and calm experience. I
need George to tell you a 1%er opening $5,000 worth of Magic product with red wine.
And then Flesh and Blood product is like, I'm like doing beer bong at a frat house, and I'm like throwing celebrations when the big hitter comes. Like it's just a totally different, and there's other aspects of it too, but it's just this cool feeling, right? And I think Everfest, I just don't want to miss that in Everfest, where I'm going to open 400 cold foil potions and just be like, all time, I don't want to miss that.
It's Pokemon with a Charizard in the set versus Pokemon without a Charizard in the set. And
I don't know what any of that means. Is that a game?
Never mind.
Okay, but I think we're both on board, man. We're both pretty stoked about Everfest, especially for what it's going to do to the game. And I've talked, no one is just a full player and no one's just a full collector. Even players who play out like have their cold foils in their binder for a reason, because they know they're special. They like them. They hold a higher value. So I think this is a really cool set. I'm pretty stoked about it, and I was riding this high when it all came crashing down. It all came, and Channel Fireball took the blimp that is my Everfest hype and like yanked it out of the sky, out of nowhere. And actually, it wasn't that big of a deal to me. I'd already dropped my spoiler, but like I felt for people who hadn't. I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, that kind of sucks. So where were you when? Where were you when?
Look, I didn't watch any of the stream. I was getting play by play by like everybody though.
You
like,
you were hitting me with play by play.
I got like all of a sudden I had like 50, my phone was blowing up. My wife was like, what is going on? And I was like, I don't know. And I, then I caught on to the idea of what was happening. And I told her, and she was laughing. It's funny. Like she knew that it was bad. It was just hilarious to me because she doesn't know that stuff. Anyway.
Right.
And yeah, it was crazy. Like I just got messages, and then I heard that they blocked Chris.
And I don't want to say this wrong. I should check my email. Chris Brewy, is it?
Bruley, I think.
Bruley, okay. By the way, awesome dude. Every time I interact with him, and they blocked him in the chat. I heard he was like, "Hey guys, this is wrong. Like, don't do this to our creators."
I want to say this first, though. I think there must have just been a massive miscommunication.
100%.
And like, I think
it was not done in malice.
I do not like, I think there's gotta be some form of, listen, I can't really complain because I accidentally put my Tales of Aria deck text for the Blitz decks in a playlist and didn't privatize the playlist, and like
a couple people found it.
A couple people found it and like ruined the spoiler for one card for one person, and like I didn't sleep for like 2 days because I felt so bad.
Dude, I don't blame you. That just
no, it's horrible. Like I understand how much that spoiler is. If you're excited about it, you want to share it with the world, and like you and then to have somebody else ruin that for you sucks. Like that, and like
it makes little guys like me feel like validated. It doesn't necessarily everyone's like, you got to use it to grow your channel. Like it doesn't necessarily do like this gigantic growth spike for my channel, but what it does, especially for smaller channels like me, makes me feel validated. It's like, hey, some of the work I'm doing is getting through. People are liking this. It's worth the time and effort. It's this little like nugget that you get thrown at you, right? And so my instant feeling was like, not necessarily for like anyone else, even my size. If it happened to me, I'm not like the world's smallest channel anymore. So I would have been like, that sucks, but it's not the end of my day. But when I got my first spoiler card back in, what was it? Tails, I think was HometownTCG's first spoiler. I was so hyped. And if that would have been like taken away from me, I would have been like, oh, like the feeling of it is like, oh man, and just taken away by like someone opening a rogue box, like a big company, like, hey, here's HometownTCG's card. That's cool. You're like, oh well, oh, man.
Yeah, like I think it sucks. In like the night before, there was another. It just seems like it was way.
There was a lot of like random people's hands with cards, blurry pictures, like some
the Fable got out. The Fable got out the night before.
Yeah. That's kind of tough, right? Because that's when I like to. The coolest experience, right, is when we were at Vegas, and the guy opened the Fable. He was like 2 tables down from me. You were like 3 tables the other way. He opened the Fable. He shouted. He put the and then he like started shaking and like crying. He was so happy. I was like, this is the coolest moment. Yeah, like the most awesome experience. And now we don't get that, I guess.
Yeah, and that sucks. And like. It just seems like this release was a little bit loosier-goosier with the spoils and the leaks, which maybe that's just the size of the game growing. Maybe it's like
bigger. It's getting bigger. It's gonna happen. It's you can't some of these things are gonna start to get through. It happens in Magic all the time. I mean, the game's growing. The community.
Maybe it's all the arena content creators who got cards. It's like it just brings the Magic over into the FaB community, and then the leaks. Like Magic is so known for their leaks. I was watching a Desolator Magic video on the Kamigawa stuff, and he was like, "Oh, another surprise! Another leak from China."
It's like getting your Magic the Gathering spoilers like Russian roulette. It's like there's going to be 6 of you, and by the end, there's only going to be 1 card that isn't spoiled yet, and everyone's just standing there like, God, don't let it be me. Don't.
Well, and the community for Magic is just so big that the spoilers just don't even matter. Like they're just like, I don't know, they just don't matter. So, anyway,
okay, so they did that, but then to their credit, they like the poor guy, everyone's like hating on the person that was on stream, not their doing. They're an employee somewhere that's being told to go do not their fault at all, 100%. But I saw some clip of the like apology video, and there's an I'm sorry, and then a hey guys, I'm sorry. And I was like, when I
saw that, when I saw that, I was like, ooh, this seems now like a joke to them. And like then you told me that you got an email, and so then I was like, okay, that's where I was like, all right, they apologize, and it is what it is.
Yeah, and so Channel Fireball got a list of content creators with spoiler cards, presumably from LSS, and I got an email from a representative at Channel Fireball apologizing for the fiasco, and then they asked for HometownTCG's address to send me something, which
baby, you're getting a case of Everfest.
No, we need to have a better, because you said I'm getting a box of Everfest, and I think I'm getting Channel Fireball sleeves. I think I'm getting Channel Fireball sleeves.
A case of Alpha from their little backstock of Alpha cases.
I think I'm getting a box of Channel Fireball sleeves. I just so like, hey, when you need a sleeve up for your next show, we got your back, and also a little shameless plug,
Like, no, that's not what it is. I'm sure it's Everfest.
So let's from Channel Fireball sleeves to case of Alpha.
Do you want to move on to pre-orders, because they've got plenty of Everfest to give you?
This is a great transition. God, we're getting
no. I don't want to transition yet.
Oh,
I'm not ready to transition.
Okay,
I want to say this. I want to say this. We are too small of a community to not like move on and give Channel Fireball like some grace in this. I think they need to be held accountable. I think LSS needs to LSS needs to get on them, and they need to send for. But like we're just too, and like I have been nothing but critical of Channel Fireball and their handling of Flesh and Blood the entire last 2 years.
No, let's get this out of the way right now. We've been talking about this for a while. There's no reason for vitriol in this scenario, guys. We're just talking about the situation.
Yeah.
There is no reason for like this witch hunt for Channel Fireball or witch hunt for these people. It was a weird situation. I want the content creators who did have things spoiled, I want them compensated in some way, and not compensated with like, here's a box. No, I want like Channel Fireball should then put them on a platform. So like re-give them some sort of small platform. But outside of that, guys, this is not like ruined a relationship. No, we're not sitting here torch and pitchfork and be like, let's boycott this. Like, no, guys, it was a mishap. I think it was an honest mistake. I don't think Channel Fireball was like, screw you, LSS.
People were connecting it to it was the day that SGC Star City Games.
Oh no, that's
what people were saying.
I got really long arms, and that's a stretch.
I was
bro.
like, guys, come on, like that's a massive like. I don't know. Anyway, I just think the community is getting. I don't know. There's just so much toxicity and negativity about like the interactions with each other. And like to think that they were doing it intentionally. I mean, they ruined the spoiler for their own content creator. Like,
right.
That's when I saw it and I heard everybody reacting, I was like, okay, well, whose spoiler's coming out? I was like, it's DM Armada. They wouldn't intentionally be doing something to hurt their own content creator.
Much like they're not like, ha ha ha, screw you, LSS. They're also not like, ha ha ha, screw you, DM. Like, no, they're not.
Right.
It's not a thing.
I just don't think that the intention was there.
No.
And so
it was a mistake.
Yeah.
It was
anyway.
it was a goof. And just because something's a goof doesn't mean you should be held accountable. But it's like anything else.
I expected to get in trouble for me ruining the like I was prepared to have to answer for that, and I understand that, and I think there should be repercussions.
Yeah. That's just because something's a mistake doesn't mean there's not consequences.
Yeah.
But also it should be taken into account that it wasn't done with malice. It was a mistake. They happen. People make them.
Yeah. So like I don't know. Yeah.
That is wow. You end every video with be kind to everybody. And your hot take there is you know, guys, we should give people a chance and be kind to them. Wow, you're pretty consistent. I like that.
I just think our community has just gotten so negative, like negative towards each other. Like I think there's a difference between criticizing the game or a company, but like I see Channel Fireball as a content creator, to be honest with you. Like they were creating content, opening packs. I mean, in some ways. Listen, I don't like Channel Fireball.
Channel Fireball's got a warehouse full of product they're holding back and making a bunch of. Channel Fireball is a retailer. They make content. I am a content creator, and every once in a while I sell something. Channel Fireball sells things, and every once in a while makes content. In my opinion,
I think their intent. I don't know. I don't know what their intent. I don't really care.
Yeah. We are off the rails.
I'll tell you this. Channel Fireball brought a heck of a lot of excitement and eyeballs onto the game that day.
100%. It's it's all good press, right? There's no bad press. Like
I don't know.
Man, everyone was talking about Flesh and Blood. That's for darn sure.
Like there's something to be said about that. So I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. But
oh, now you decide when we stay and when we move on.
I do. Right in the second. I did.
I'm just a small YouTube channel being bullied by the big guy. It can't be a podcast if I don't make
Why can't I do a podcast with somebody who has original lines week to week?
Does someone
Mondo 1K, Mondo 1K, Mondo 1K, Mondo 1K. You're such a big big YouTuber. You're gonna be bigger than me by like the end of this year.
I mean, yeah, probably. Yeah,
I'm on a diet.
HometownTCG to the moon, bro. Let's go. No, it's I don't know, because I think it's because you wear your heart on your sleeve, and you show that the fact that you are mildly and albeit minimally successful at doing this, and it bothers you. People like to point it out.
Compliments.
Dude, I mean, you're not Channel Fireball, are you?
No.
Okay.
Never.
So you've got a moderate level of success, and then when someone points it out, you go into a huff. So it's fun to point out.
I'm just I'm escalating your success. You have been very successful.
Almost as successful as you.
Move on. This is bad content. Everfest pre-orders.
Everfest pre-orders. Okay. What are you pre-ordering at? If you're out there and you've got these online retailers, you've got the LGS, whatever it might be, you got people selling on Facebook through the group with their shady pre-orders that I have no idea how they get their hands on. What are you pre-ordering at? Because I've seen, we got some locals pre-ordering at like $115, $120 a box at LGSs. We've got some LGSs pre-ordering at, in the 80s. You got the Channel Fireball, Card Shop Live pre-ordering at the 89, but then also giving you like a free box of X, or free boxes of unlimited tails is the dentist joke. It's like, oh, you get a free box of unlimited tails with every order. Like,
and grading for every, my understanding is you get 5 grades because one per box, I think.
You get 5 grades.
Yeah, they have a promotion that's you get a case plus plus a free box, and it says that you get 1 free grade per box, I think, is my understanding of the ad. I didn't buy it, but 1 free grade from their grading thing.
That's okay. I actually didn't know about that. I play all my cards. Yeah. I don't have a way to grade them all. And I can't wait to get to the Farewell to Wraith, because those I might, because I've assembled the Super Friends. I've got them all. I've got them all. So what are you pre-ordering?
Now I want to talk about my Super Friends Commander deck. Anyway, move on.
No. What are you pre-ordering at? Because there's a line like, okay, I want to help the LGS, right? And I'll always say I'll pay a little bit more if the LGS like can't compete with Card Shop Live or Star City Games or whatever. I'll pay a couple bucks more. But there's a line, right? Like there's sooner or later it's just too much more.
It's hard. I've heard. Like my allocations were really good. Like I have 0. From one distributor I'm very frustrated with, but from my main distributor I have 0 complaints about my allocations. Like
you can do a case break for HometownTCG, huh?
Yeah, sure, whatever you want, buddy.
All right, I'll pay for one. Let's do it.
I
trap them on video.
I did your Patreon. You got opportunity to buy boxes.
I'm above that.
Anyway, the like my allocations were fine. I've heard of stores only getting like 2 cases, and
Really?
like yeah, people, I've gotten a couple messages from various people saying, hey, we only got blah blah. So like my gut is that those stores that are saying $115 are like,
Are short on cases.
I didn't get that many cases, so I'm not going to sell them at 85. Like,
Sure,
you know
sure,
what I mean?
sure.
I think if you have been buying unlimited from your store and you've been a regular patron of that store
Sure.
and buying unlimited, and you should be able to get boxes at 85 to 90 bucks.
But that's not what I'm asking you.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, what's the price point for you, Louis, where given the choice, you go away from the LGS and you go to Star City Games or Card Shop Live at 85, 89? Like what how much is too much?
Listen, if I'm at my store playing every day, I'm willing to spend $100 at my LGS.
Okay, so but that's if they charge 105, you're like, now you're starting to like lean a little bit. You're like,
you and I are much different. I'm all about sorry, man. That was like, I don't have a price in my mind that I wouldn't pay Carl for a box if he asked me to. But Carl's the guy that before I started an LGS, he owns the LGS. If he came out and he was like,
I just want to make the big YouTuber money joke, but you yelled at me and I can't.
If he was like, hey man, Magic boxes, when I was playing, if he was like $115 a box, like, sure, I'm there playing in his space for free a lot of times. Like, I'm just hanging out playing Commander with my friends and whatever. So like, whatever he says. Now I'm gonna buy 1 or 2 boxes from him, and then I'll go buy a case from Rudy. But like, I'm gonna at least give my store owner my money. Now that being said, Carl would never charge me $115 for a box. He always charged
shout out Carl. Carl's the homie.
Carl, Paradise Games. He's a great dude. But like, like he would never do that. But if he did, I would feel morally obligated to. So,
dude, you stole my take.
Yeah,
like,
well, get your
you pivoted. You stole my take because my take's the exact same. Like, I love these stores around me so much that it's almost like kind of whatever you charge, I'll always buy something from you. Now, the amount that I buy, will you be the main source where I seek out to do all my box openings, either for the channel or to build decks or whatever it is? That's going to depend on kind of what my budget personally entails. But I'll always support you with something, right? It's going to be something. But I didn't realize that people are getting allocations cut, and that could that could obviously cause a price bump, because there's like, if I'm only have 2-3 cases, there's no reason I need to get these in and get them out. I'm not sitting on that much cash. I can sell them at a premium. That 100% makes sense.
Yeah. Allocations are all over the place.
They seem so weird.
I've heard stores get like feel angry about it, and I've heard stores not taking all their allocation.
Really?
It seems like from one of the Peach State has multiple different offices, and those different offices, like, I didn't get my allocation numbers until, I don't know, Wednesday of last week, whereas other stores on the West Coast or North, like, all got their allocation 2 weeks ago. Like, it's just been all over the place.
Right. Okay. So what are you?
And there might be more. Like, there might be more. Like, we don't know if they're out. Like, you just never know that.
How many pictures am I going to get from you of stacks of cases in random spots in your house?
Oh, you saw one photo of Monarch. That was from before I was a store.
I saw 2 photos.
Oh yeah. I'm not stacking cases of Everfest.
Really?
No, I sold all mine from my store. I sold all mine from
really? So personally, Louis is not holding on to any cases of Everfest. I know you sold everything for your store, but like, are you going to buy something for yourself?
The same thing that I did on I always want to call it Throne of Eldraine. I do this. I hate the thing I hate the most.
Throne of Eldraine.
If there's one decision that LSS has made this last 8 years of developing this game, no, this is negative. 100% negative. They made it ELE for Elemental instead of TOA. Like, that is the worst decision of everything. It's the worst decision. Like, every time I think about the set name, I go to Eldraine, like, from Magic. Being a content creator is impossible.
All right, hold on. Hot take. I actually agree with you. That always felt like it's like it was right there. It was right there. You like had it. You had it. It was right there, and you went. You like, Oh, what is that? Is that Family Guy or something where he's like he's got the little kid's tyke hoop and he's gonna slam dunk the basketball and instead he just like falls over and breaks his arm and you're like, what? You're right there, like you had it.
So I don't know. Like I always buy my like for Tales of Aria. I almost did it for Toa.
For Tales of Eldraine.
I just waited for the market to drop and I bought 4 or 5 boxes at a time off of TCG Player, eBay, all the places, and yeah, I had I did a Channel Fireball pre-order. I think I got the 2 cases from Rudy. Idiot.
Wait, when did that happen?
Not for this one. For
Tales
of Aria, I got Channel Fireball pre-order. We still all thought the boxes were going to be above map. I got the two cases from Rudy, and then I got my from that other shop that the subscription from what's it called?
I know what you're talking about.
I still have my subscription for that through them because Team Covenant. Because
yes, that's the one.
I fought for it so hard during Monarch. I just can't let it go.
I gotta hold on to it. So I don't know, man. I'm drinking so much of the Kool-Aid. I don't want to say it anymore because you're the market guy, and I'm probably just wrong.
Well, I'm not saying not to buy it. I'm saying
no, but I'm just stacking cases of these things, and like, guys, never beyond your means. You made a video about this, and it's one of my favorite videos that you've ever made. And your take was like, "Hey, if you're gonna buy a bunch of product and store it in a basement somewhere, be responsible. Make sure you can afford pasta and rent." And I was like, "Oh wow, that's an extremely good and like take that nobody says out loud. Everyone's like diamond hands, hold." It's like stupid. Why don't you just like use your brain a little? Like that take is so good.
I listed cold foil. This is like the second time in 2 years that I've sold cold foils. I listed some cold foils for sale, and I got like 15 messages, like basically criticizing me for selling. Selling cards. I had to mind you to fund this YouTube channel that is about trading card games. About
cards. I had an entire discussion with someone at the LGS who admittedly I didn't know, but he was convinced that I knew nothing about investing because we were actually talking about the zoo. So now nobody likes the zoo. We were talking about the zoo, and I was like, yeah, I buy a couple of the first edition boxes and then just let them sit on the shelf. And everyone's like, well, why don't you buy these singles? Why don't you buy more? Why don't you buy more? And I said, because I know myself, I won't go above and beyond to go sell them. And the guy's like, it's still an investment. It still does this. It still does this.
Yeah,
I go, but if you never sell them, if it never realizes value, if I die and my MetaZoo is sitting on my shelf, I did not make an investment. I bought a product. Yeah. There's a difference. There's 100% a difference. So I know myself. I struggle with the second half of the investment life. I struggle with the buy a case goes up 20%, sell case, buy 2 other cases or whatever, whatever it turns out to be. I struggle with that. So I know that often I'm not an investor. I'm a sealed product collector more often than not.
I think this is not investment advice. I think with Everfest, if you're buying boxes above $85 to $90 a box on pre-order, you are making a bet that there's not an unlimited soon.
I see. Like, I don't necessarily agree with that. And again, you're the market guy. I hate disagreeing with you here, but the set seems so good. It's got so much and supports so many things that even if there's an unlimited, there's still that feeling where someone will pay $20 to $30 more for a first edition box down the road. Now we've said this on this podcast before. This is not 2 months from now. This is not 3 months now. We're talking the age of like a year, 2 years from now. Right? Yeah. That's going to grow. The first edition product will grow, where the unlimited product, I don't think will. I don't know.
I'm pulling up Tales of Aria right now. I think that the question is like, what is different about this than Tales of Aria? Like Tales of Aria is at $90 a box right now.
Yeah, sure.
Like the map price on Tales of Aria is less, so you can make that argument.
But how long ago did Tales of Aria release?
My point is, here's my point. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just saying that we were in this world with Monarch, and we need to get out of this. Where the FOMO is there. You feel like you're going to miss out on ever getting product at an acceptable price point.
Right. You feel like it's going to be to the moon and you can't afford
Everfest
it.
is not going to be a $200 box in 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 6 weeks or 10 weeks. It's not going to be a $200 box then.
No.
Now, will you be able to double your money over the next 2 years? I, for one, actually think that is true.
I think you can. And I think Everfest is going to be the one to do it.
But dropping all of your money tomorrow on Everfest as a result of
2 years,
thinking that it's going to, I think you have some time to buy a case here, to buy a case there, to buy a case here. We still haven't seen the product, and a lot of stores don't put their product up there until they receive it. There's plenty of stores who don't do pre-orders and don't have a large in-store player base, but they order a ton of Magic the Gathering, a ton of Pokemon, a ton of whatever, and so they get high allocations of Flesh and Blood because of their spend on other things.
Sure.
And they aren't doing pre-orders. What they will do is just put it on TCG Player the day they receive it. So like,
right.
I think that yes, you should, if you believe in the game and if you invest in trading cards and that's your thing, I think you should have a position on Everfest. I don't think you need to buy that position tomorrow.
More so than you have in the last 2 sets.
Well,
more so than Monarch.
Yes,
more
as
so
a result
than
of being a supplemental set.
What?
Because it's supplemental.
Yes. Yeah. And going forward, just the feel of supplemental sets in this game, it's the antithesis of the core set in Magic the Gathering, in my opinion. It's the one time where, since the whole pool is constantly playable, that everything's going to get interesting all at once. Instead of a third of something getting interesting at one time, everything's going to get interesting all at once. Now, that doesn't mean it's always going to get better. It doesn't mean it's always going to be OP, but it's all going to get interesting all at once, and people are going to hold on to that memory. Everfest is an exciting time. 2 years from now, when I see a box of Everfest, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember the highs and the lows and these discussions, and it's going to put me in a positive mind state. So supplemental sets to the moon forever.
Yeah. It's going to be super interesting to see what happens with singles. I think, we have the ProQuest season coming up. There's a line here with Guardian. I don't want to use specific cards, but there's a couple cards in, I don't want to ruin any spoilers. There's a couple cards in the set that are very high rarity for Guardian that, if they are used in the top 10 deck lists for the new Bravo, and because of the ProQuest season, could dry up on the market very quickly.
It could, and it could take those prices sky high. But if it takes those prices sky high and someone, I don't know, who has a goatee and wears a backwards hat does the math about how many boxes you have to open to like get these cards out, and it turns out to be more profitable, you will have a horde of people going, ooh, there might not be free tendies in buying a box of Everfest and selling it in 2 weeks, but there is free tendies in buying 12 boxes of Everfest because I'm going to make 30% on my money. So that's going to get those cards available. The scary part is if nobody does that. If nobody does that and the singles just dry up and nobody opens product.
Well, that balances itself out.
Well, it does until you introduce the variable of unlimited. Until you splash unlimited on top of that scenario right there, nobody opens the product, no first edition singles out there, and then everybody's cracking unlimited for cheaper. Now there's a lot of sealed first edition product out there.
It's going to be interesting. This is going to be, I think, Crucible flopped at the beginning. Crucible War was a complete flop of a set until
the art in Crucible is just ugh.
Oh God, you're so wrong. Stop it. Crucible has the best art in any set.
I know your take on that. I'm just kind of messing with you.
But Crucible as a gameplay set. Sorry.
Crucible as a gameplay set. Go ahead. Sorry.
Crucible as a gameplay set did horrible. Nobody included the cards. No, I mean, other than like Spoils of War and a couple of decks and like whatever, like nobody included those cards in their deck until like recently, and the metas evolved and things shifted. But when Crucible first came out, it was below map. It was readily. I mean, the game hadn't like hyped up or whatever, but like the demeanor about the set was low. I don't know what happens now if this is the same way. We are in a player's market, not a collector's market. It's going to be super interesting. This is going to be my favorite set to watch. Tales of Aria was a snooze fest in terms of watching the market. Watching the market.
Hot take time. It might have been a snooze fest as far as watching the market. I freaking love Tales of Aria.
Yeah,
I see my cases of Tales of Aria and I'm like,
It's a beautiful
of,
set.
Kind of want to open some of you. You're just so great and so awesome at everything, and I love you.
It's a beautiful set, but it was a snooze fest. It's just the market side of it was a snooze fest.
Yeah, but I don't do the market. I do the gameplay and the pretty cards and the shiny and ooh, and I want to open it. It's so good.
The reason it was a snooze fest is because there's only 3 heroes, and because and that's what makes this set.
And no generics. No generics hurt as far as from a market standpoint. The lack of generics just hurt Tales of Aria, because if you don't play one of those 3, you don't. And even if you do, there's a lot of decks where it's I got to pick up a couple things and then I'm good to go. Like I don't need it that much. So
and that's why Everfest is gonna be good.
What? But okay, so Tales of Aria is just gonna be cool in the long run. What's your favorite non-supplemental Flesh and Blood set right now? 3, 2, 1, go.
WTR.
That's just the most boring take ever. I'm gonna take Tales of Aria. Everyone's like, I hate fusion, I hate elementals. I think it's cool. I'm only not taking WTR because you took it. I'm a huge fan of WTR. It's just sitting right next to me at all times, just because I like to look at it. Yeah, and had the best event in the history of Flesh and Blood of all time, forever, ever, for perpetuity, forever. The best event belongs to Welcome to Wraith.
Yeah, this is good. This is good stuff. LSS did a really good job on this.
LSS did, the LGS, the community. This was the perfect event. It was perfect. It was perfect. It was freaking perfect. There was no one, very few. I don't want to say nobody. There's very few people out there being the hardcore player who's kind of, while you're playing, being kind of a jerk or anything, or being, far too serious for this casual event. Everyone was chatting while drafting. And I went to a lot of these events because that's what I do on my channel. Is I try to experience all these different aspects of the community, all this gameplay, and man, it was perfect. It was perfect. I can't stop thinking about it. The prize support, the fact that everyone got something, the fact that it was this perfectly balanced format, the fact that it was competitive enough to where like, oh, I definitely want to win. But if I don't, my day is not. No, I don't O2 drop. I play it out. Like there's no reason to O2 drop at all. It was incredible. Sorry,
LSS needs to replicate this and make more events like it, where the prize support is given at the beginning and it's just about the fun of the game. That's the best part of this. Even if it's not given at the beginning,
I went to a couple where it was given at the end, so you didn't O2 drop in case you were a super serious player. And because that kind of, now someone's got maybe like a buy or something like that, and they don't get to play as much. It was perfect in every way. I don't even care when you give the prizes. It was perfect in every way. I had the most fun playing Flesh and Blood. And spoiler alert, I went to one event and I got smashed in the first 2 rounds. There was events, I rolled a dice at the beginning of the event, and that's how I decided what hero I was going to play. Like what hero I was going to draft. The last event, I was like, I'm going to draft generics until like the generics are so bad that I have to pivot into a class. Like you could do so many fun things. It was such a good time. The community was out in droves, and between games, people were playing games with their drafts. It was so cool. Yeah. Sorry. The heroes. I got the super friends. I got every one of my full hero. I'm going to slab those. I think I'm going to slab. I don't slab anything. I think I'm slabbing them. I'm sorry.
Well, it's nice that you can slab. I love that you can slab Flesh and Blood cards, because you can use them. Like, I think that's such a good mechanic in the game. Look, man, like I think this is perfect. There's nothing really there's no reaction to this. Like, it was perfect. It was
give these guys their flowers. Give your LGS their flowers. Give LSS their flowers for this one. We're so quick to be like, oh, we disagree with this. We disagree with this. No, this was perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. Now, sure. I saw, you see the post on Facebook where like their whole kit came with cards bent in half. That's obviously not perfect. Like, I don't
that's
hear
not
about
on that's the distribution. So
whatever it is, I don't want to hear about that. That's I hope that gets rectified. I'm talking the spirit of the event. It was just perfect.
Yeah. It was great. It was perfect.
I have no controversial take here.
And honestly,
I'm just happy.
Here's my controversial take. I don't want them to do it ever again.
It's for anything.
I don't want them to do this for another set. Like I don't think they need to do this for Arcane Rising.
Well, Arcane Rising went out of print first. So
Right. I don't think they need to do it for Crucible War. I don't think they need to do it for please don't do it for Monarch. I don't think
farewell to Monarch. Everyone's like, good riddance, middle finger.
It's just a party. Everyone's just eating pizza.
Everyone's trying to sell their Monarch boxes at $50 a box.
No one's
please buy.
Monarch gets all the crap, but like
it does. I love Monarch.
Like farewell to Wraith or welcome to Wraith is a special set to almost everybody in the community. That's why I hate that WTR is out of print. Hate it. I think that I rather have as a store boxes that can't sell than not have the ability to get it. Like I just think like I hate that it's out of print. But that being said, like I think doing a farewell thing for it is perfect because it's that important. Like it's that important of a set to the game. And I get it. I understand it needed to go out of print. I know there's logistics that Louis doesn't know.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't change the fact that I freaking love the set and that it brought me into this world and that I want my friends to experience that forever. Like, you know what I mean? Like as my friends get involved, so like, whatever. But this was a perfect.
We have a high level player. I just want to lean off that. Because you said you want your friends to experience it. We have a high level player. I've met him. I've played, essentially hand in hand with this guy at other events and stuff like that. And he's a great dude. Used to do a lot of Twitch streaming. Just an all around great guy to hang out with. And I thought for sure, just by the way he played, he's just been around Flesh and Blood like as long as I have. We were at the same event, and he's like, "Yeah, this is my very first time opening a pack of Welcome to Wraith," because he got into it late and he just bought singles because he was a player. And he got to experience this draft. And at the end, he was like, this was just so much fun. Like he was just riding on this high. He was going to skip. He had like other engagements. He was going to like a hockey game that night. He's like, I think I'm going to skip that and try to get into another one of these. Like it was just so cool.
Should go watch my video on making a WTR cube, and you should go buy a WTR cube. It costs about the price of buying a WTR case. For about the same price that you can buy a case of WTR, you can buy like multiple copies of every single card to make a cube. It's
I'm sure I have them.
Yeah,
HometownTCG used to do box openings. If you look back in the annals of YouTube history, there's some really shoddy case
build
and box
cube,
breaks.
Get 4 or 5 or 10 of your friends together, draft WTR every day for the rest of your life.
Who has 10 friends? Okay, I was about to say.
I couldn't get 4 friends together to draft WTR.
Remote, send it to me. I'll do it. No, it was great. We just spent so much time saying, hey, this is critical. This is what I would fix. This is how I think this needs to improve. That I want to say that there was no improvement here. This was sick. This was perfect. I don't know. Okay.
Whoever's idea it was to do an event like that,
promote them.
Deserves to be the leader of the universe. I almost said our country, but then I was like, they're in New Zealand.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
We're not going to let somebody from New Zealand be the leader of our country.
It was probably the same person that started posting all the tweets that suggested, like, hey, we should tweet all this. Probably the same person. Because, like, whoever this is should just be king of everything.
Yeah.
King of FaB.
All right. What's left?
That's it. That is everything. Is there anybody still listening for my most positive? I feel bad. The farewell to Wraith. I just rambled about it being perfect. I think for like 7 minutes.
That's fine. I like it. Makes up for your constant negativity.
I did one video with you, and I am in a bucket, man. I'm in a bucket.
Welcome to the Flesh and Blood community.
Welcome to Wraith, my friend.
Welcome to Wraith.
As we close this out, what do you think's going to happen in the next week? Well, I open this one pack of Welcome to Wraith, and I open the eye right here, right now.
If you open an eye in that pack, I will give you $1 million if you open an eye in that pack.
What do you think is going to happen in the next Flesh and Blood week before we meet again to talk?
I don't know. I have no clue. Lots of deck techs on new cards. The eye's not in that set, right?
So many deck techs. I did not get an eye, but it's taking me back to the Welcome to Wraith draft, and I'm just in a good mood again. There's going to be tons of deck techs.
It's the heart. It's the heart in Welcome
to
Wraith.
Not. I think we're gonna. What I'm worried about is a lot of the cool stuff being lost. I don't want that to happen. That's my mission in the next couple weeks. Is I don't want the cool, maybe less than nationals worthy tech and fun stuff that you can do to be lost to the annals of history. So I am leaning into that. I'm going to say this is This is, I said it in the previous video, this is my giant package for this deck, and I'm building around it.
I think the next couple of weeks it's going to be a lot of ProQuest conversation.
I think so too.
The
Rightfully so.
SCG Star City game SCG tour thing is going to be interesting. Are you
going to Indianapolis?
Are you?
Oh, you know I'm going to Indianapolis.
I don't know if I'm going or not. I don't want to talk about. I don't want to get negative. I already planned things for that weekend because it's in like 6 weeks, something like that. In 6 weeks in March.
If it's your other podcast friends that, by the way, spend 30% of that podcast crapping on this podcast.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's completely uncalled for. I can talk MetaZoo too. You know that.
Anyway, I already have plans in 6 weeks, and so I don't think I can go, which I'm super bummed about. But like, I don't know, not really anything I can do about it. So I'm gonna try to cancel those plans.
Don't worry about it. I'll hold it down.
I'm pretty frustrated by it, but
I'd like to be the most famous person at the thing. So if you could like stay home and DM Armada could like, oh, none of you guys can make it. Oh no, it's just HometownTCG. Oh no,
none of us are famous. I think it's really important that we all understand that.
What are you talking about? I'm so famous. I had one person at one of these events come up and say, I really like your content. Will you sign this? And I went, no, I don't want to devalue that. I'm not going to do that. So this has been awesome, man. It's always awesome talking to you. Why don't you remind everyone where this podcast can be found?
It can be found. Well, why? They already know. Just listen to it.
Oh, wait. Is that not what you're supposed to do? I don't podcast, man.
I know. Just have a good day, everyone. Go subscribe to all of our channels.
Yes, subscribe to both channels, that one and this one right here. Remember to be kind to the people around you.
And if you're listening on podcast, leave us a good review so that it gives this podcast to the millions of other people, the 200,000 other Flesh and Blood players in the world.
There's 200,000 Flesh and Blood players in the world?
I don't know. No.
My channel is far behind. I thought I had like half of them.
No,
anyway, this has been sick. I'm so stoked for the next week. I'm sure we'll talk between now and then.
Remember to kind to the people around you. We'll see you again later.